Flag was designed by Mrs. Probst when the club was first formed, when we bought the property here. And she designed the flag. And a short time after, we had a yacht club glossary, some book, and I don't remember who published it, published in England though. And they were looking at that and they realized that the yacht club flags are really pennants that's triangular shaped rather than rectangular. And so that was a big change they had to make. And also, through the year, and we subcontracted all our flag making with a West Coast outfit, and I forget the name, but I can look that up. And until Lenny took that over around 1986, 87, because I was taking care of it up until 1985. And he then subcontracted that stuff to other people. And it became a different colors in there. And finally, Doug Lee took the gauntlet and said, this is terrible, those colors clash with each other, and so we have to change that. And Doug Lee designed the three flags that you see over the bar there, and I think that's on the letterhead too now. I don't know if it's three flags, but certainly his colors, or I may be wrong on that, they may have. But if you look at the Saugatuck, there's a whole bunch of different colors on there, and that color is really wrong, even though it was the first one that was there. It was Doug Jones. Doug was also a civil engineer. And he, I know at one point in time he worked for Cargill, but he saved his club so much money, and most people don't realize that. The first thing I had heard was that the way out here, that we go across a couple of big concrete pipes, very big. The town wanted us to build a bridge. That's before these houses were here. They wanted us to build a bridge, and Doug said, with his engineers, he went through all the regulations, said, you don't have to build a bridge. We put a couple of concrete culverts in there, and it's not culverts, the pipes, and it'll be just fine. Thank goodness. Just think we would be busy maintaining a bridge for the people that live down the road here. Yeah. Doug saved us a ton of money with the club. Subsequent to that, around 1985, we were planning, and there were several architects in the club, were planning to revamp the whole clubhouse and make an atrium here. That's where that stairway going up there, why it was built. It was going to be an atrium with a balcony up there, stop using the area down here as a meeting place, get everybody upstairs so you could look out over the water at the boats, which was the part of the plan. Doug Lee even did some drawings of what it would look like. I was heading up the architectural committee. Steve DeLay was the Commodore at the time and asked me to head that, but then I left to go to work in Australia. So it stopped. The next thing I knew, Roy Lindell and some of the guys built the stairway going up to nothing. I mean, it was going up. That's why. And Silvera, I remember Dick Silvera said, you know, we got this big belfry up there, we could just glass it in, it would be just great. That prompts me to move on to something else. One of the reasons we couldn't do that is we would probably have to have a dumbwaiter in here to get stuff upstairs, you know. And to do that, you have to have a sprinkler system. Of course, this place is a fire trap. And we don't have a water line in here coming in here big enough to handle. I think it takes a 3-inch water line. That's a big water line. Gammons was the club treasurer for years and years. And then we got some new members in and said, how long has he been the treasurer? And it's just, I don't know, 17 years, whatever. It's just, well, don't you think we ought to have the books audited? And oh yeah, I gotta have the. And so they took it to Isaacs, Irv Isaacs. He's a member of the club, I think. He's a guy. He's a CPA in Stanford, and they had him. He had 1 penny error in all that time. He was so ivory, so pure. It was admirable. He was really, really a fine guy. And he married the club secretary, Phyllis, who was not club secretary before that. It was Helen Fraser. And every day Helen would come to work here at the club. The office used to be in here. She'd park her car at the same spot and hit the rock. And so someone painted on a Fraser rock. Well, there was Mr. Phillips had a son Jack. Anyhow, his son Jack had bought a Hobie cow when they first came out, and he had it on a trailer over here by the garage and so on, and they were rigging the mast on it, and then they decided to take it out, so they would put it in the water. And of course, we didn't have underground wiring then. In fact, on the docks, we didn't have underground wiring, under the docks. So the mast, the aluminum mast, they really get out, driving it out on a trailer, and pow, poo, pow, poo, poo. Of course, all the power to the pool is coming from that pole over there. And there was a lot of excitement there that day, and a lot of swearing. And I must say, a good thing for Greenwald, he came over here the next day. He did this twice. He came over the next day and dug a trench so we could lay those power lines underneath. So that was not going to. The cannon, I gave you a picture of the cannon, right? When he pulled that cannon, it was sitting on the deck here. Like it's a concrete deck. And I blew the shit out of the concrete too. I looked at that board and said, I would have done the same thing. And I looked at the board. I said, we're going to have commissioning day tomorrow. What are we? So I grabbed some pressure treated lumber out, and there's a piece of scraps laying around. And I took it home and I remounted the cannon, and trimmed it up, and I put that eye on there so that when they pulled the cord on that, it would be pulling straight rather than, because normally you pull it up, So and it's still the same way right now.